session. How to design workshop curriculum. So we'll be looking at when you have decided that you will organize a workshop. You have decided on your workshop topic. You have decided that you want to organize a workshop for accountants, for craft people, for single women, for mothers, for teens, workshop for pastors, for students, whatever you want to do, you have decided now. How do you design the workshop curriculum? Because your workshop curriculum is very important if you will create transformation in the lives of your participants. Now, I want again to define a workshop for proper understanding as far as this particular session is concerned. A workshop is a structured, interactive learning experience that is designed to facilitate the acquisition of knowledge, skills, or attitude. It must be structured, and the key thing here is what? Interactive. I've told you guys this. If you do a program and people just sit and listen to you throughout and then ask questions and do contribution, that is not a workshop. That is either a seminar or a training. But a workshop, there must be an interactive learning experience. If this is not there, there is no workshop at all. Whether you want to transfer knowledge, let there be interactive experience. Whether you want to transfer skills, hands-on skills, coding skills, craft skills, cake making skills, whatever hands of skills, let there be an interactive experience. You want people to develop attitude, like somebody wants to do a workshop on self-esteem. You want people to change in their attitude. Make sure there is an interactive learning experience. And the development of a workshop curriculum is a crucial step in ensuring that the workshop is effective and meets the needs of the participants. Without a well-developed, competent workshop curriculum, you will not be able to create transformation. Designing your curriculum and making sure the curriculum is well designed will play a big role. There's actually no workshop without a curriculum per se, because even the activities that you create to give your participants an interactive learning experience is part of your curriculum. It's part of your curriculum. So spending time to design your curriculum is important. And that is why having this session on how to design your workshop curriculum, a step-by-step process that you can go through to design your curriculum, is very important. So there is a systematic process that I will recommend to you. In my years of designing hundreds of workshops, and one funny thing about me is that I've designed workshops for other institutions. I've designed workshops for other trainers. I've designed workshops for other experts. I'm not the one training, but I designed the workshop. Okay, this is the flow of the workshop. If the workshop flows like this, you will create transformation. So based on that experience, and as a trained facilitator and trainer and speaker, I'll be sharing with you a systematic process that I go through to create a curriculum that must achieve three things: engaging, relevant, and effective. E-R-E. Anytime you are creating your workshop curriculum, you must respect the E-R-E framework. The curriculum must be engaging, it must be relevant to the participants, and the delivery must be effective. Never forget the E-R-E framework when you are designing your curriculum. Are you getting me? If you are getting me, type on the chat box E-R-E framework. Type on the chat box ERE framework. When you write it down, you hardly forget. Let's go. Type on the chat box ERE framework. Yes, anytime that you are designing your curriculum as a professional workshop facilitator, make sure that you are respecting the ERE workshop. Make sure that the curriculum is engaging, relevant, and the delivery process will be effective. Okay? All righty. Let's proceed. Step number 1. What is the first step in this process? Define the purpose of the workshop. Yes. When you have imagined, you have decided that you want to deliver a workshop, you want to create a workshop, the first most important thing that you need to do is to make sure that you define the purpose of the workshop. A workshop without a purpose is definitely a confused matter, right? So it is important that you spend time to define the purpose of the workshop. The purpose of a workshop is the overall goal or the aim that it seeks to achieve. Because if you are designing a workshop curriculum as a professional workshop trainer or facilitator, if you don't have a clearly stated purpose, you may end up being everywhere as far as your content is concerned. We are even in a situation where, or in a century where there is a lot of information out there. So you cannot train people on everything in the industry. But when you define the purpose of your workshop, you will be able to know the relevant content, the relevant knowledge or skills that you want to transfer to your people. Therefore, it is important to clearly define the purpose of the workshop in order to guide you through the process of developing the curriculum and ensuring that the workshop is focused and effective. So when you define the purpose of your workshop as a workshop facilitator, it will help you to ensure that your workshop is focused and effective. Okay? Step two, identify workshop specific objectives. Identify workshop specific objectives. I did not say workshop objectives. Specific. I should not ask you, why do you want to do the workshop? Because I want to train people. Are you serious? That's not an objective. Why are you doing the real estate workshop? I want people to become real estate experts. That's not a good specific objective. Why are you doing the workshop for accountants in a small business? Because I want them to be good accountants in a small business. That's not enough. And when you are not specific, as far as your workshop objectives are concerned, I can tell you categorically clear that your content will struggle. There are many people that when they want to design training for a workshop, content for a workshop, they end up having a lot of data, a lot of content. They don't even know which one to choose and which one not to choose. I'm sure some of you have experienced that. You have a lot of information, just one act to deliver, and you're confused. If you don't identify the purpose and the specific objectives, you will always have that problem. So the objectives of a workshop are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Because you need to outline them in a way that the participants will be able to do or know as a result of attending the workshop? What will I know if I attend your workshop? What will I be able to do if I attend your workshop? So for example, instead of, let me say like this professional workshop certification program, I should not just say that I want people to become workshop facilitators. No. The objective are, number one, I want to work with people for a period of 10 days and above to help them develop practical professional skills and abilities to be able to design a workshop and execute the workshop seamlessly. Objective number two, I want to help the people that go through the workshop to be able to create workshops, market them, sell, and make money from their knowledge. Now you see, it's different. It's more specific. You can see the reason why you will attend. So when you are designing your workshop, always sit down and write at least 3 specific objectives of the workshop. 3 specific objectives. It will help you in developing your curriculum. When we have reached the content creation itself, the content development itself, you will see that without these things, your content will struggle. Your content will struggle. Okay? So, to identify the purpose and objectives of the workshop, you, the facilitator, should consider the needs and goals of the participants. So these are things that you need to consider also when you are developing or writing down the purpose of the workshop and the specific objectives. What are the needs of the participants? What are the goals of the participants? What are the resources available here? The kind of resources that you have access to you can also determine the objectives of your workshop. For example, when you have enough money to do a workshop, objectives become better. When you have limited money, objectives also have their own challenges, you see? So you also need to look at your resources. Look at the time available. Objectives for a 1-week workshop cannot be the same for objectives for a 2-day workshop or a few hours workshop. Also look at what are the desired outcomes of this workshop. In all, overrule. What do we want to achieve as the outcome of the workshop? Let's look at example of a workshop purpose statement. You see, this is, let's say that I want to do a workshop to provide training to team members on how to communicate together, on how to communicate as a team, effective communication in a team, or team building and effective communication. Let's say that's the topic, that's the title of my workshop, right? So for me to start working on the content, I will need to write the workshop purpose statement. I always do that. Sometimes it could just be a small piece of paper around you, or sometimes I just type on my chat box, okay, what is the purpose of this statement? I try to recollect my mind and I write, okay, the purpose statement is da-da-da-da. I write it down. As I'm writing it down, it is helping my mind to recollect, helping my mind to know what is needed and what is not needed. So let's say that the title of this workshop is Team Building and Effective Communication. Now, the purpose of this workshop is to provide participants with the knowledge and the skills needed to effectively communicate with their team members, leading to increased productivity, collaboration within the organization. You know, a purpose statement must be very short and precise. When you now have your purpose statement like this, or your workshop purpose statement, when you are struggling to design your curriculum, this will always act like the guide for you, the guide to enable you to do that. Okay. Number two, let's look at examples of specific workshop objectives. So let's look at two workshop objectives that you can design. Okay, you can write down. Now we are still on that team building and effective communication. And I'm writing down my two workshop objectives or two specific workshop objectives, which I need to create my curriculum better. I'll now describe, okay, the specific objectives from this workshop include, number one, participants will be able to identify the different communication styles and how to adapt their own styles to effectively communicate with their team members. So even if I am bidding for a corporate training and I want a company to hire me to come train their team, when they also read this objective, they will see a need to work with me. You see? Number two, participants will be able to use active listening techniques. So when somebody reads this, they already know that in the workshop, I will teach on active listening techniques. You now see how the objectives help you to now create curriculum? Yeah. In the first objective, you already know that in the workshop, I will teach, there will be a section on types of communication styles. There will be a section on how to adapt your own style of communication to relate with your team members better. You see, I'm already generating subtopics that I will add flesh on, I will add content on as my PowerPoint and train people. In objective number two, I would definitely develop content on listening techniques. You see, I don't struggle. I don't need to craft content from space. I don't need to dream content. No, it is there. It's right before you. You just need to think deeper and be resourceful. Like all of these, how many models? We have had how many models? Almost almost 13 models or so, plus the recorded sessions I've gone through. Almost 18 models that you guys have gone through in this program. You think I copied from somewhere? No. It was just on the purpose of purpose statement, objectives, looking at what you will gain as, okay, for them to gain this skill, I need to do a training on this. For them to acquire this knowledge, okay, I need to design a PowerPoint on this. For them to learn about this, I need to do a PowerPoint on this. Objectives, purpose, needs, and all of that. Step three, conduct a needs assessment. Yes, it is difficult, except you are doing the workshop from your industry. You are already a talker in the industry. You already have a lot of information about the industry. You may hardly need to conduct a first-hand assessment. But for many beginners or certain types of workshops that you are doing for the first time, you cannot take away needs assessment in the curriculum design process. It is impossible to design curriculum that will transform the lives of your participants, that will transform the lives of your participants if you don't carry out a needs assessment. I did a needs assessment post on Facebook yesterday where I made a simple post. I made a simple and I asked my community members, if you were to have 1 hour, a 1 hour sit down with me, what will you like me to teach you? And I got almost 100+ comments on that. And I've taken some of those are now my topics for future master classes and workshops, because I've already validated that people need those kind of, people want me to teach that. You see, that's needs assessment. I know the needs of the community. Sometimes I can just post that in a WhatsApp group. You can ask those who are in my Peak Performance Academy. Sometimes when I'm designing a content or curriculum, or I'm designing a workshop PowerPoint presentation, I will just take a snapshot and share in the group. Or let's say I'm writing a book, I'll just take a snapshot or a written excerpt from the book and I share in the group. I say, oh, I'm writing a book on this. How many people would love to get the book? The reactions are my needs assessment. So you need to find creative ways to conduct needs assessment You need to do needs assessments before you can do proper workshop curriculum design. So you can do that by surveying participants. You can do that by conducting focus groups, like can have a Zoom call with people in a WhatsApp group or all of that, just to ask questions and see if your content or your workshop will be relevant. You can talk to your family members and friends, right? You can interview potential participants. Yes. If you're designing a workshop for small business owners, okay, go out and interview them. You can ask them questions, right? You can ask them questions that you can use to do that. Let's look at examples of some interview questions that you might ask people in order to design a workshop curriculum. Yes, I am talking about this because there are some high-profile workshops that before you deliver those workshops, you must interview potential participants so that you'll be able to design curriculum that is top-notch, relevant, and that can create transformation. Okay, so examples of the questions include, what skills or knowledge do you feel you need in order to be more effective in your job or your business? What skills or knowledge? What skills or knowledge do you feel you need in order to be more effective in your job or in your business? What have you found most challenging about your job? Yes. Or let's say like Hedwig is doing she's a career coach. What have you found most challenging about looking for a job? When people start responding, that is your needs assessment. You're talking to a business owner. What have you found most challenging? Making profit, making sales, and becoming profitable. They tell you. You can use that and create a workshop. What are your goals for your career development? What are your goals for your marriage? What are your goals for your business? You can use all of this and create content that will speak to the heart of the people. And I want to emphasize, when you are doing premium workshop, I'm talking about workshop that is very expensive. Workshop that, according to you, could be, your premium workshop could cost maybe 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 50,000. I don't know whatever level you are. But when you're doing workshop that require people to pay some good amount of money, using interview questions to interview potential participants is important, so that you are double sure that people will need the knowledge that you have put together. It is possible to spend time and craft knowledge that nobody would need. It is possible to spend time and craft knowledge that people will not experience transformation. Let's do a quick activity in the chat box. I want you all to think of one interview question that you can ask your potential workshop participants to see if to carry out a needs assessment, just one. Everybody in the chat box. I've given you examples right now. Now, go to the chat box. Type just one question that you will ask to your potential workshop participants in order to determine if they need your workshop. That is your needs assessment interview. Let's go. All right, so let's proceed with step number 4. Determine the content and the structure. Now, this is the heart of the matter. This is where you determine the content and the structure. What will your content look like? And let me tell you, your content looking like structure will come from the first step, second step, third step. Determine your relevant and useful content. Organize content into a logical structure. So now you need to go to your needs assessment, go to your objectives, go to your purpose, and begin to bring out your content from there, the structure from there. You understand? So if we're talking about, I was giving examples about doing a training on effective communication and team building. So my content could look like, okay, I will define the key terms. I will define effective communication and team building. That could be the first part of my workshop. Step 2, I could talk about the importance of effective communication in a productive team. You see, you are the one now generating all of this based on the purpose definition, based on specific objectives, based on your needs assessment especially. Majority of your content determination will come from your needs assessment. So when people respond to your needs assessment, you're going to convert what they say, convert some of the questions that you ask into content. That way, they become relevant and they become useful. Organizing the content into a logical structure, that is your job. You begin to organize which slide will come first, which slides come second, which slides come third. And let me tell you, step 4 is where you validate your professionalism. Step 4 is where you validate whether you are an expert in that field or not. Let me tell you, people who are not expert, people who are just lazy, average people, always struggle in step 4 because nobody will give you step. It is your job to generate the content as an expert. So if you claim that you are an expert in your field, you cannot struggle in step 4. People who struggle in step 4 are people who are not truly experts in the area where they want to design a workshop. So there's no way of saying, okay, go and copy content. No, you need to determine the content outline. That's what I do. When I reach stage 4, I determine the content outline. Okay, my workshop will cover this outline. Slide number 1, define the key terms. Slide number 2, state the importance of why they should develop this skill. Slide number 3, the body. I enter the body. What's the body? The body may involve, like, let's say, communication and effective team building. The body may involve types of communication. How the various types of communication impacts various team members. How to relate your best style of communication with your team members. You see, you start creating all of that. So step 4 will be irrelevant. You will struggle in step 4 if you have not properly defined your workshop purpose. You have not properly defined the specific objectives of your workshop. You have not carried out proper needs assessment to know the challenges that your target participants are facing and how you can convert the challenges into content. That is your job to do. Okay, step 4. And to implement step 4, you, the facilitator, should do the following. To implement step 4 successfully, you, the facilitator, should do the following. Number 1, select relevant and useful content for the workshop. And you select using what criteria? Purpose statement of the workshop, objectives of the workshop, and the needs assessment that you carried. The second thing you have to implement, organize the content into a logical sequence. Like these slides, I'm telling you, I am the one that starts with my brain, with my head, and organize the slides in a logical sequence like this. It's my job to do it as the professional in this field. So it is also your job to make sure that you organize the slide in a sequence, the content in a sequence, that when somebody follows, they will learn things one step at a time and not get lost. There are some speakers and trainers that when they speak, you get lost. They will take you from north to south to east to west, back to center. At the end, they conclude you are lost. Don't be that kind of a facilitator. Learn how to organize your content to a logical sequence. Me, I always use introduction, body, and my body always involves a step-by-step process. If you have ever followed me, if you have followed more than one of my trainings, you'll notice this. I always start with introduction, then I enter the body, and the bodies always include a how-to, a step-by-step process, then conclusion. Right? The third thing that you must implement, is Choose a variety of activities to engage the participants and facilitate learning. I have emphasized, and I'll keep on saying, it is not a workshop if there are no activities. What validates what you're doing that is a workshop are the activities that you design and you engage the participants to fully involve themselves in the activities so they can learn. Consider the time available and plan the activities accordingly. That's the last thing that you have to do. When you are designing your content in step 4, always check the time. What is the total time for this workshop? Is it a 2 hours workshop? Is it a 3 hours, 4 hours, 7 days, 4 days, whatever? Consider the time available to you and make sure that you plan all of your workshop to fit the time given to you. Then step 5, which is like the big brother of step 4. So step 4 is where you can spend a lot of time designing your PowerPoint presentation here and there and other stuff. Now, in step 5, what you do now is you design the extra stuff that you will need to successfully deliver your workshop. Okay? Handout. Will you want to give handouts to your participants? Your slide talking about your PowerPoint. Exercises, will it be there? Will you create individual exercises? Good. Do it. Will you create team activities? Good. Do it. Will you take the participants outdoors? Okay, design how the outdoor process is going to flow. Are you getting the process? So you need to decide. You must not design all of this. Sometimes for me, I just do my slides, exercises, and team activities. Sometimes there are handouts, and sometimes there are extra studies. Extra, for me, sometimes handouts are like extra, how do you call it again? Videos, video links of previous trainings that I have done or recorded courses I've done in the past, and I'll give you, okay, to go grow more in this area, please go and follow the following courses. You get the point? So develop further workshop materials. Practice and rehearse. Practice and rehearse. Yes. For most people, they will need to always practice and rehearse their workshop. They'll always need to practice and rehearse their content to avoid stuff. Sometimes on workshops, you have a lot of exercises, you have a lot of handouts, all of that. So you need to go through the sequence to make sure that, let's say it's a workshop that is going to run the whole day. You will need to make sure that you rehearse and go through, okay, when we meet at 8 o'clock, what am I doing first? 10 o'clock, what comes next? 12 p.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m., up to 4 p.m., you rehearse the whole sequence and the whole process, right? Very important. So, and sometimes you, the speaker, you can rehearse you delivering your slides. Rehearse you delivering your slides, okay? It can be very important to do that, especially if you are still young in the industry. You have not been training consistently like for more than 3 years. I'll always recommend rehearsal and practice before you go and embarrass yourself in public, okay? So practice and rehearsal are very important. Step 7 for every workshop is carry out activity engaging. Recap. It is always recommended that at the end of each workshop, make sure you do a recap. But I always encourage do activity engaging recap. Don't just ask people to, please, can you raise up your hand and tell me what you learned in this workshop? Yes, that is a good recap. Or for most people, they're the ones who give a recap. Okay, in this workshop, we have seen the following. They start listening. You're the facilitator. You start listening to the things that they did. And they go, oh, this is our recap for the workshop. Thank you for coming. Bye-bye. No, I always encourage what I call activity engaging recap. So I always create an activity to do the recap. I'll say, okay, you know what? Everybody stand up, write down the 5 top lessons you have learned from this workshop and how you implement the lessons after the workshop. come out here and do a short presentation of 1 minute. You see, it's engaging. You are putting people on the spot. It's almost like accountability. It's almost fun. People will learn from other people and all of that. So avoid doing boring recap. Avoid doing listening recap. I encourage you to carry out activity engaging recap. And of course, step 8, carry out evaluation. Evaluate the effectiveness of your workshop. Was it effective? You can give a quick link for participants to fill. You can just ask them questions. Oh, how was the workshop? Were you blessed? Were you transformed? What do you think? Was it relevant to you? Will it make you a better professional? That's you interviewing the participants. Okay? They can just do a quick, like after work, people are packing to go home and all of that. You can just go around and talk one-on-one to a few people and just get a sense of how effective your workshop was. It's very important. For some people, you can just send a link for people to fill, and tell them, let them feel and tell you how they, what they think about the workshop and how impactful it was for you and what they may like you to teach next time you meet. What other topics do you want us to handle next time? They can list it out. What challenges what did not go well during the workshop that you would like us to improve next time? Okay, so you can still do that as far as evaluating the effectiveness of your workshop is concerned. Okay, now I want to show you the example of a curriculum I designed as I was preparing this particular slide yesterday. So I used the same process to now design this curriculum I'm about to show you. So I purposely designed this curriculum because of this slide. Okay, that's what happened. So I'm going to show you the slide now, and then we look through. So you see how I implemented all of this in the process. Where is that stuff? Oh, I thought I'd open it. Hold on a moment. So I gave the workshop title, Building Self-Confidence as an Entrepreneur. Building Self-Confidence as an Entrepreneur. That is the assumed title of my workshop. So when I did that, I now designed this curriculum structure, which is 2-page, right? Curriculum on the topic, how to build self-confidence as an entrepreneur. Let's say I sat and I said, oh, I think that entrepreneurs need self-confidence in order to be more successful. Okay, that's good. Then I, defined the purpose. Then I went ahead and I did my needs assessment. That's the assumption that brought us here. Then, so when designing a workshop curriculum on the topic of building self-confidence entrepreneur, there are a few key elements to keep in mind. Number one, the objective. See, I established the objective of the workshop. The workshop should have specific, measurable learning objectives that align with the overall goal. You see, it's talking about the overall purpose of helping entrepreneurs to build self-confidence. This is the purpose of this workshop. Through this workshop, I want to help entrepreneurs to build self-confidence. So objectives are identifying and overcoming personal obstacles to self-confidence, understanding the connection between self-confidence and success as an entrepreneur. As I'm reading these objectives, you can already see the kind of topics that I'm going to develop in my body, right? Develop a personal action plan for building self-confidence. You see, those are the objectives. Use variety of teaching methods. Okay, for me to successfully deliver this workshop, I will use a variety of teaching methods to appeal the different learning styles and keep the entrepreneurs engaged. This might include interactive exercises and group discussions, because to help people build confidence, they must be involved in the process. And what is the best way to do that? Create interactive exercises, like maybe pushing them to stand in public and talk about their business ideas, pairing them in groups and push them to discuss among themselves, right? Lectures and presentations. I can do a lecture like a PowerPoint presentation and all of that. Role-playing simulations. I can now create a situation whereby, I select a few entrepreneurs to sit as investors, and we call some entrepreneurs to come and present their businesses to the investors in a confident way. And I do corrections, I do advice, and they do the role play again. You see, I create a scene. I create like a drama scene. I call some entrepreneurs, let them, you entrepreneurs, you're going to become investors. You're also going to talk. And we're going to select other entrepreneurs to come and do a presentation. In this role play, everybody is being active and they are building, self-confidence. Self-reflective activities. Yeah, I could create a video like describe a time in your life where you were very embarrassed with yourself because of low self-confidence. You see, reflective activities. Or describe a time in your life where you feel that you lost an opportunity because you lacked the self-confidence to take advantage of that opportunity. You see, this is me. I'm telling you my process of going through develop my curriculum based on what I've taught you guys now, right? I can include case studies and examples. And this way, if you notice me a lot, when I'm doing many of my trainings, I tell a lot of my personal stories. Have you guys noticed that? Those are stories that I prepare in advance. I scan my life. Oh, for me to teach this, which part of my life should I share with these people? Oh, let me see. I begin to calculate. And now jot them down somewhere. Oh, you know what? Tell them about what happened in Kenya. Oh, tell them about what happened in France. Tell them about when you went to Turkey to do that, this happened. You see, those are real world examples because they are very important to create transformation. Or sometimes I will tell stories of my friends. I will tell stories of clients I have coached. I will tell stories of my team members. Those are things I have highlighted to feed during the workshop or the training session, right? Encourage attendees to set goals. Attendees to be encouraged to set specific measurable goals for building their self-confidence and create an action plan for achieving these goals, right? It's part of creating the transformation. Provide follow-up resources. You see, we spoke about resources in one of the steps. You can recommend, for you to be able to build self-confidence, read the book by Joybert on redefining yourself for success. Through that book, you'll be able to redefine your attitude, your mindset, and your character to become more successful. To build your self-confidence, there's a video on my YouTube channel titled 5 Techniques to Build Self-Confidence as an Individual. Go and watch that video and increase your knowledge and learn more stuff from there. You see, additional material. It could be a book by another author. Now, from there, when I've done that, you see, I already have my curriculum. I'm going to design and all of that. You see, when I've done that now, the next thing is a schedule. I always like to have a schedule for my one-day workshop or for my few hours workshop or for my 12 days workshop, whatever I'm doing, right? Let's say it's a 1 hour or it's a one-day workshop for a couple of hours. You see, this I'm going to break it down. Introduction of the workshop and welcoming the participants, like the first 15 minutes. Like we did that in this session. The first 10 minutes of this session, we spoke about yesterday's assignment and I gave comments. That was like introduction and welcome per se, while waiting for other people. It took us about 9 minutes. You see? Then overview of the importance of self-confidence in entrepreneurship. You start the first session of the workshop, you begin to lecture, you begin to teach, right? From there now, you now create an interactive exercise. For me, I wanted to do talk activity. That's what I always have in my mind. So here, I would speak for 30 minutes and just teach. Then after that, activity of 45 minutes. Remember, it is only a workshop if people are involved getting things done. Then in this 45 minutes, I give them an activity. Identify personal obstacles to self-confidence. Write it down. Look at your life since primary school up till now. What are the personal obstacles you have faced as far as building your self-confidence is concerned, right? Then we go, after that 45 minutes, we go back to the lecture, understanding the connection between self-confidence and success as an entrepreneur. That will run for 45 minutes. After that, again, group discussion. In the group discussion, in this group discussion, I actually have a PowerPoint presentation, but I will not be teaching actually. I will ask them to share, and I'm just guiding and putting and commenting and adding the flesh, right? In this group discussion, which will run the 45 minutes, share the strategies for building self-confidence among yourselves. They begin to share. They begin to share. Maybe towards 15 minutes, and I'll call group representatives, group leaders, or if there were any, come and share. What did you discuss in your group? What are the key strategies that people agreed in your group? Just read them out, and then I'll give comments, and then we conclude on this session, right? From there, we can move to role-playing exercise. Practice self-confidence in a business setting. This is where now I can now we can now bring chairs in front, and we create a roundtable conference, and we now say, oh, all of you, imagine that you are in a board meeting. Start having a discussion like board members, and all of you are billionaires. Talk like billionaires. Talk like millionaires. You see, that's a role play exercise. When that comes done for 10 minutes, and we can bring another exercise where we can now say, oh, we're going to do a pitching session where some entrepreneurs will become investors and other entrepreneurs will come and pitch to the investors. You see, role play activity. Then self-reflection activity. This way you now put them back in their personal space and challenge them. This way you're trying to put them in a place where they can make good use of your workshop when they have gone at home. Self-reflection activity. Set personal goals for building self-confidence. I want you right now, write out personal goals that you will start practicing from today to build self-confidence. Maybe you thought that while you were teaching, you said one of the best ways to build self-confidence is to invest in yourself and build your competence. Somebody will now write, oh, from today, I will start reading one book a month. You see, they now write in their personal goals, okay, from today, I will read or buy and read one book a month. Maybe you thought that to build self-confidence, be careful of your circle. Stop being around people who are not dreamers, who don't have goals, and who speak on the negativity. Change your circle and start being around positive people, dreamers, those who set goals, and those who have careers and businesses. Somebody said, oh, you know what? I'm going to audit my list of friends. Those are personal goals that I'm setting. After 30 minutes, you can now go to conclusion. This is where you conclude your workshop. This is where you do engaging activity recap, all of that, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. You can give announcement, next steps, whatever, and then you close. You see, this is how I will deliver my workshop on how to build self-confidence as an entrepreneur. And I just developed this curriculum structure when I finished designing the PowerPoint presentation that we just saw a few moments ago. Any questions? So we have concluded with that example that I've shown you. Now your assignment is based on those topics that you submitted that you want to use and do your and do your first workshop. Make sure that you use that what you have learned in this curriculum design process and start working immediately on developing your curriculum. It's going to take you time. It may take you 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever, but you need to work on it immediately. Some of you need to go and set interview questions now and send to potential workshop participants for them to reply so you can do needs assessment and know the kind of contents to create in the process. Some of you need to do a general survey on your WhatsApp status or on Facebook, whatever, but make sure you do that. Okay, all right, everybody, that is it for today's session, and go and put to work this process that you've learned, and you will see that you will effortlessly develop your curriculum for your upcoming workshop.